it.
Dang it. The mic wasn't turned on. Ah!
Sucks when the mic's not turned on.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is episode 4 of Build Code Name Goliath, right?
You don't have to say exactly what I say. I was being goofy.
Okay, all right, here we go. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today is episode 4 of this super build, which we have dubbed Goliath. I think it's a very fitting name for this Jeep. What we're gonna do today is cut all the brackets off the frame. So we in the last video, we stripped the Jeep completely down, got everything out of it. Now we have to cut all the brackets off. Now, you may be wondering, is it really necessary to remove the body to do all of this? It's not. You don't have to. But for us and how we want it to look and how clean we want it to look, with all of the stuff that it's getting a new motor and transmission, it's just easier for us to do it this way. So that's why we do it. Plus, we powder coat our frame, so if you were to do this on your own, you don't have to do all of that, but we are gonna have this powder coated when it's all done, so it'll last the lifetime of the Jeep. So, man, we got a lot of brackets to cut off. We've got coil mounts to cut off, shock mounts to cut off, track bar mount to cut off. We're gonna build all of our own stuff for that. We don't need any of that anymore. More control arm mounts to cut off, transmission cross member, gone. We're gonna build our own. That's not strong enough. This cross member, gone, don't need it, because we're gonna build another cross member because it's stronger. This cross member is gonna stay for today. I may change my mind. We've got a couple of different revisions of this particular setup here, none of which I really like, so I may make some changes in this video. We'll see. We'll go from there. This cross member, it's in the way, gone. Coil buckets, don't need them. They're not really in the way, but they are in the way because the tower goes here. So, gone. There's some optional things that you don't have to cut off, but for me, I like it to look as clean as possible. We're not using these shock mounts anymore, so I'm gonna get rid of them. You don't have to. There's nothing wrong with them being there. It just looks cleaner without them. All these exhaust tabs, gone, because we're gonna build all our own custom exhaust for this Jeep. That's pretty much it. It's simple, just cut it off. There's a lot of time involved with, once you cut them off, cleaning everything up and making it look like it was never there. So once I'm done cutting everything off and ground everything somewhat smooth, then I'm gonna go in with the DA sander and I'm just gonna work this frame till it looks like it never had anything on it. Then we'll start putting all our own brackets on it. So, got a busy day ahead of me. I gotta get suited up because plasma cutting in a hoodie is not fun. Brake clean, it's in case you want to make a flamethrower while you're plasma cutting. People just leave stuff in random places. So yeah, I'm gonna get suited up, follow along, and see what happens. Now this job can be really easy or it can be really hard, depending on what your skill set is and depending on what your tool situation is. If you're using a grinder and a cutoff wheel, you're gonna be here for days. I'm just gonna tell you right now. It's a lot of work to grind and cut these off by hand. If you're good with a plasma cutter and you can do what we call sloughing, and that's where you get just the bracket and not get into the bottom material at all. Now occasionally you're gonna nick it, you're human, you're not perfect. But if you can do that, it will make cleanup so much easier. So my next step is going to be, basically I'm gonna get a flap disc and a 4-inch grinder, and I will get these somewhat smooth, and then I will run over them with a little bit finer disc, and then ultimately what I'll do is run over the whole frame with a DA sander. I'll probably start at 40 grit and then work my way up to 80 or 120, depending on how bad it is. Some of these frames, this one's in really good shape, so hopefully it won't take much, but some of them have been previously abused, other brackets have been put on them, whatever. This one should be pretty smooth, so it just kind of depends on the shape of your frame and how much time you're gonna have to spend cleaning it up and how good you want it to look. You could clean these up with a 4-inch flat disc and be done with it if you really wanted to, but we really like quality and we want it to look the best that it can, so we're gonna make it look like it was factory better.
What about this up front?
This here? So it depends on what you're doing. This particular customer wants to keep the bumper that he had, which is over there. I don't remember what brand it is.
Poison Spider.
I feel like it's Poison Spider, yeah. And it utilizes this as part of the bumper. I'm actually going to reach out to him because the only reason it utilizes that is for the factory sway bar, and since we're not going to be running that anymore, I am going to reach out to him and see if he is good with taking that off, and we'll gain a little bit of ground clearance and it'll look a little bit better in my opinion, and then we can go ahead and cut this part off. We'll leave these on though for this particular build. Depends on what front bumper it's getting though. Same with the rear. Depending on what we're doing on the rear is whether or not we do any cutting back there by those rear body mounts. So this cross member will eventually get cut out, but because I've cut so much off of this frame, I try to keep as much of the structure intact as possible. So this will be kind of one of the last ones I cut out after I get this support put back in. So that's why that one's still there for now, but it will get cut out as well. Another 10 minutes worth of work and we'll be done. And now we grind. All right, guys, frame is stripped, ready for OA bracketry. We started with a perfectly good, unmolested frame, and we cut it up in true off-road addiction fashion. So, got everything cut off, everything's cleaned up. It is ready for assembly, but before we can assemble, I gotta go over there and I gotta assemble all that stuff. Some of it's gotta be welded up, some of it's gotta be bent up, some of it's gotta be finished cleaning up. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time doing that, and then I'm basically gonna start on the rear, put the rear cross member in so I can cut the frame in half, get the buckets in, and then work my way forward. This, we're doing things a little bit different on this one. The world keeps changing, so every time we do one of the super builds, something is different. And this will be the second 6.6 with 8-speed we've done. But I didn't really like the cross member design we had. It works, it's plenty strong, it's just overly complicated. So the goal on this project is to get a simplified version that is easy to produce. So I am gonna be spending a little bit of time on that as well throughout the next couple of days. So this is all the brackets, not all the brackets. There's a couple of brackets that, as I mentioned, we're gonna do some redesign on, so I didn't cut those out yet, just so that I don't waste material. But this is like 90% of the bracketry that we use for our super builds. Everything's cut out on the plasma table. We use a pickled and oiled 1/4-inch material. Makes it for pretty simple cleanup and easy to weld that way. That's the rear cross member. It's got to get bent in multiple different directions and welded up before it can be put in the frame. And then, like I said, several of these also have to be bent up. If you'll notice, some of these have strange holes in them. You're like, what the heck are those for? That's for alignment on the frame itself. So basically, this bracket is going to wind up getting bent 90 here. So it'll set on top of the frame, and then this lines up with the hole. So there's like no question as to where it goes. Really simplifies the install process once all of this is bent up and welded up the way it's supposed to be. So that's what I got to do now. There's a lot of brackets here. Oh, one other thing. He may film this, he may not, I don't know. But so we use these are our joints, the insides of the joints. We use these for spacing, and we've always been pretty barbaric. And we just cut cardstock out usually and put some cardstock there and then bolt it together, and that gives us enough spacing. Once we weld it and it cools, it's not too tight. Plus for adding for powder coat and all that fun stuff. So we're kind of tired of that. The secretary says we're wasting too much of the folders, and so I'm gonna weld the top sides of this up to add some material, and then I'm gonna take it over to the lathe and machine it flat so that we have like actual pieces that we can use and not have to waste Miss Christine's file folders anymore. Sorry, Christine. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna start with bending this up and getting it welded and stuff. So yeah, cue the music. All right, guys, this is the part of the show where we get to show you guys what a Bruiser complete engine and transmission package looks like. So we're gonna get this thing opened up, talk about it a little bit. It is a 6.6 liter GM with an 8-speed Dodge transmission, and then all the components that we need. Takes about 7-ish wires to hook up once you get it in. So we're gonna get it opened up and check it out. It's like Christmas, only it's not my present, and it's not Christmas. It's got all our wires. all our fittings, some cables, some brackets, which is poorly painted. Intake stuff, motor mounts. I mean, it's got everything you need in there. So, Lane, I need your help. Help me, help me. Ready? Straight up. Your way. Woo, doggy. You read me, hear me now. What's up, brother? Whoa, dude, there's no need to be so violent.
I'm barely going.
Don't run into anything. Don't knock the Jeep off the lift. You need to go up. You need to go up. You gotta go up.
I can't see anything.
It's the 6.6. It's all there. Need you to start working your way this way. Not a whole lot. Nope, that's too much. That's too much. We didn't make sure the frame was square first. When I say we, I mean me. In my defense, I got distracted with stupid lathe work. It's not my fault. So you guys have seen all the bracketry laid out on the table, cut up, bent up, welded up, but I got it all installed. Everything that we install on the frame, everything's just tacked together. Front towers are pretty straightforward. We got a measurement we go off of here to place them in there, and then everything else has a locating hole that mounts it to the frame. You can kind of see it from that side. You know, everything's got a point where you don't have to make any measurements. You literally just set it up there and weld it in place. In our past super builds, we have utilized a single cross member for the transmission mount and the lower control arms, and we'll continue to use that on the standard 5-speed transmissions for these Jeeps, but the automatic 5-speed, the standards are 6 speeds. Anyway, I know that might have been confusing. But on these 8 speeds, they're a lot longer. And so we were really struggling with how to make it all work and keep the geometry the same. I really am happy with the geometry on the front suspensions of these Jeeps. So what I decided to do was kept the standard cross member here for the lower control arms, but then I built a tubular cross member for the transmission mount. So it mounts to the frame and then mounts the transmission to it. So it's got a little bit more work involved there. We had to modify the skid plate a little bit to make all that work. But overall, I am super happy with the outcome of that. And it'll also take a lot of stress off of this cross member. It's not supporting the transmission and the control arms. So that, in my opinion, makes it a little bit easier on everything. So I am still waiting on a Atlas support. So it will get an Atlas support back here. These Atlas transfer cases are super heavy, and they're prone to coming loose, just overuse, and so that support will help take any of the stress off of the studs that are holding it in place. As we come back, don't worry about my string, keeps my body square. I got all the towers installed on the back, and kind of the process I use with this is I install the rear cross member first, and then I'll cut one side apart at a time. So I can cut the frame. Once the cross member's in, there's enough support there that I can cut the frame in half without it falling apart or worrying about it getting out of square or anything like that. So cut that out, and then I stick these towers in and weld them up. So pretty straightforward. We've really tried to make this as simple as possible, not only for us, but in the future for you guys when you're installing this in your garage. So, man, next step, I don't know if you see, I gotta cut the body out of these big old towers. So that's what we're gonna do next. All right, guys. So now comes the time where we gotta cut the body. It could be a little bit scary if you don't do it right. it can be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it's not my Jeep, so it doesn't bother me that bad.
Yeah. Measure once, cut twice.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're gonna do, I've already marked all this, but I have a measurement that I take from this point, and it's 6 inches, so I'll just write that down for you. So 6 inches. And then the next point from here is 9.5 inches. So this span here is 9.5 inches. Can you read my bad writing? And then this from here to here is 3 3/4. This way.
Ow!
And so
One of your sparks came over and hit me in
Got
the
me.
side.
when you're doing this, start small. Cut what you know you have to cut. Set the body down, cut more out if you need to. You don't want to cut it all out and then be like, oh crap. So now I got a big hole to fill. So we make boxes to cover all of this stuff. And so ideally, what would be the smartest way to do this, and hopefully going forward we will, I will have the boxes built already. You can literally set them up there, mark around those, and then cut a little bit smaller, ideally. But because of so many changes that have been made in the last year or so with our design, our original boxes don't quite fit with the Genrite cage and all that stuff. So this is kind of the guinea pig for that. We're gonna cut this out and then build a box to fit this, and then from that point on, we should be able to do that. So I'm gonna start with drilling a hole in each corner, just to have nice rounded corners. And then I'm going to take the grinder and cut it. So wish me luck.
Violent. Rob?
Yeah.
What? You're off.
Huh? No, I'm not.
Your line's here.
Well, that's because we decided to change it. So this was, if you actually measure that, that's not 9.5 inches. So yeah, don't worry about those marks. Those marks
I was
don't
like,
matter.
brother.
Yeah. No.
First cut is off.
No.
Okay.
And I will wind up probably opening this up a little bit more, but I'm trying to keep it as tight as possible for the cage. So yeah, my apologies. I don't mind those numbers in there. Those numbers didn't matter. Well, that Linex smells great.
What is that?
I'm just kidding. They're What's up? Ta-da! Hooray! Okay, gotta cut the other one out. Okay, yeah. Back. Okay, that's good. Got it. Wasn't that big of a deal. It's just the studs going in the
Yeah,
hole.
it's just a very clean body.
We're not
On
gonna
a
drop
lift.
it. Where's it gonna go? Hey, are you gonna be all right over there?
Yeah, I know. It's all that Loctite on it. Sounds like you cross-threaded the around.
Hose reel's not working real well. All right, guys, here's the situation. Gone about as far as I can with this part of the build. I got my tower covers designed. I did not get them cut out yet for reasons mainly because I'm not very smart sometimes, and I had to cut some other stuff out and I forgot I needed to cut those out. Anyway, long story short, I won't put those on until we strip it all back down and send the frame off to powder coat. That way I'm not bored sitting around doing nothing. I can at least weld those in. So we decided this is a good point to end the video. There's a lot going on here. We're trying to show you guys in depth how we put these builds together, so that in the future when you're doing this in your garage, you can watch this as an instructional video maybe. I don't know. So yeah, we're gonna end the video here. In the next video, you're gonna see us working on axles. So make sure to keep watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Don't forget, what was I supposed to say? Wow, it's Lane's fault. Lane's laughing at me. Okay, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you guys out there. Bye.